by a society where nothing is sacred, where nothing's special, where it has been ruled out, systematically ruled out for anything special to ever happen either. So no miracles can happen, miracles are impossible, no God can ever appear here. New York Times didn't report any God, appearing. God is dead. That's what Nietzsche said, right? Nietzsche said God is dead. And you know what the other part of that thing is? The other part of that dictum that Nietzsche said. Nietzsche, a great philosopher at the end of the 19th century, so God's been dead for over a century now. At least in the West, over a century. Nietzsche, by Nietzsche's time already, it was obvious that God was dead. In this sense, you see, that there's nothing sacred. God is dead, and the other part of it, and we killed him.
He said that part?
He said that part too, and we killed him, you see. God is dead. God didn't have a heart attack up on Alpha Centauri or something like that, you see. We killed God. We don't believe in God anymore. We don't believe in the sacred anymore. We don't believe that things that are amazing, or miraculous, magic can happen anymore. So, this is all part and parcel of the same kind of, worldview, of this secular worldview, which encourages on the one hand pride, encourages pride in each and every one of us, because on the other hand, nothing's sacred. There's nothing that can be over us, nothing that can be above us, because we've killed God in every sense. We've killed the idea of the sacred. So part of the religious life is to rediscover the sacred. To rediscover the sacred, because we lost it. We have by and large lost it. Even, religious people, even spiritually oriented people, people who show up to classes like this and stuff like that, we've all lost it. We all have to work very, very hard at recreating the sacred. We have to put God back on life support. We killed them, and so we have to take those electric things and put them on his heart and go, try and bring him back to life. Try really, try like Frankenstein, come back. It takes effort to do that. It's a discipline. It's a kind of a yoga to discipline yourself to think over and over again. There's no reason in the world why magic couldn't happen. See, there's no reason in the world. There's no logical reason for me to think that there couldn't be special things happening in my world. So this is logic. It's not a matter of faith. It's not a matter of blind faith in that sense, of blind faith. It's a matter of reasoning, partly reasoning about the limitations of your own knowledge, about the limitations. You see, part of the other thing that comes with the secular worldview is this kind of hubris. This kind of hubris about of course we know for sure that there couldn't be magic in our world. There couldn't be any kind of special thing. There couldn't be the appearance of the divine here. We know for sure that couldn't happen. How we know that for sure is another question. So when we all in our personal lives are trying to resuscitate the sacred, we have to be clear about the limitations of our knowledge of what we can know, and be like don't be like the frog at the bottom of the well, who just thinks, well, the only world that exists is the one that I can see in front of me. And tonight's class is kind of touches on that. One of the questions in tonight's class is, well, if there is the possibility of a sacred being intervening in my life in the form of a teacher, how come they don't look like special? How come they just look ordinary? So how come they don't come swooping down with some cape on some guru mobile, with some kind of special glow and aura and all like that? How come they don't look like? How come they don't look like my fantasies of what a deity should look like? And there's a very interesting answer to that question. And I just sort of give you a preview of it, because your karma isn't good enough yet to see a being like that. You wouldn't reckon even if they came like that, you would say, oh, there's just another schmuck. So there's a schmuck in a Buddha-mobile or something. It's just we would just because of our filters, because of the filters in our minds, we couldn't see. We can't see. We can only see what we have the karma to see. We only can see what we have the goodness, you could say, to see. When it comes to the sacred world, we only can see what we have the goodness to see. So, so of course, you know, you're not going to be seeing, you know, you're not going to be seeing golden light, you know, auras around, you know, by and large, right? And until the karma improves. But to rule it out altogether, you see, that's a sign of hubris on the one hand, of like arrogance on the one hand, and the pride that goes with arrogance, thinking I somehow, I frog in the well, know for sure, you know, what can exist and what can't exist. See, what is possible and what isn't possible. And I, frog in the well, haven't seen any divine beings intervene in my life so far. So therefore, they can't exist in anyone's life. And that's the hubris, that's the pride. And with that kind of, that's a form of wrong view, what we call wrong view, which made the top 10 list in the Buddhist, list of the worst of the mental afflictions, the worst of the misdeeds, and that's a form of wrong view. With that kind of certainty, ruling out the possibility that things that you can't see now, or the things that you can't experience in the present, could not exist at all for anyone ever. See? It's just a arrogance. It's just a kind of an ego, arrogance thing. So then we talked a little bit about, well, what would help us overcome this kind of pride? What helps overcome the pride that blocks us from taking ourselves to a teacher, for example, and believing that the teacher is someone special in your life? What could help us get over that kind of blockage? Because many of us have it. You know, even those of us with teachers have it. Even those of us already gone and like done the whole big formal thing, will you be my Lama, blah, blah, blah. We still like have this like blockage about actually surrendering to a Lama. Actually saying like, no, they really are the Buddha. They really are the Buddha for me. And therefore, whatever they say, whatever they do is a teaching for me. See?